Good morning, my students. Hope you are reading very well at home. COVID-19 pandemic is causing problem worldwide, but that will not stop you from reading. Today, we are going to discuss circulatory system in man. You have heard about all these systems. Oh, you are in SS3. These are revision. We'll be revising a lot of things for you. You have heard about circulatory system, but I know that some students will still find it difficult to understand it. That's why I try to do justice to this topic. The circulatory system, apart from circulatory system, there are other systems in the body which you know. Systems like a digestive system, excretory system, respiratory system, endocrine system that take care of hormones, nervous systems, etc. But today I want to explain this circulatory system in man. The circulatory system is the body's transport system. It is made up of a group of organs that transport blood throughout the body. The heart pumps the blood, and the arteries and veins help in the transportation of the blood. From the chart here, this is engine block of the body, the heart. Very powerful organ. Very powerful indeed. These organs pumps blood, and the blood vessels, arteries, veins help in the transportation of blood. Then let's move over to composition of blood. Blood contains plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and the platelets. Taking them one after the other. Blood plasma. Blood plasma is a pale yellowish liquid. Plasma contains substances such as hormones, soluble proteins, mineral salts, ions, etc. The main function of this part of blood is to take nutrients, hormones, ions to the parts of the body that need them. Plasma also plays a role in the transportation of waste products. This plasma, I want us to understand it very well, is the liquid portion of the blood. 90% of plasma is water. Let's move over to red blood cells, also known as erythrocytes. Red blood cells contain a pigment called hemoglobin, which carries oxygen carrier. It does not possess, the red blood cell does not possess nucleus at maturity. You have heard about nucleus before? Nucleus, if you study your cell very well, both plant and animal cell, you know that one of the organelles there is nucleus that play a crucial role. It contains genetic materials, hereditary materials, they are all embedded in the nucleus of a cell. In fact, nucleus help to control all other activities of the cell. So, as long as nucleus, the function of nucleus cannot be overemphasized. The main function of red blood cell is to carry oxygen around the body. Red blood cell also help in the transportation of carbon dioxide to the lungs, which leaves the body during exhalation. The red blood cell typically lives for about 120 days before they die. Blood cells die, but thank God we have bone marrows that help in the synthesis of these blood cells. Let's move over to white blood cell. White blood cell is also known as leukocytes. White blood cell is irregular in shape. It's larger than this red blood cell I wrote on the board, larger in terms of size, larger, but fewer in number. White blood cell contains no hemoglobin. White blood cell possesses nucleus. There are two main kinds of white blood cell, not written here. Two main kinds of white blood cell. They are the phagocytes and the lymphocytes. Phagocyte from the name, they ingest foreign particles like bacteria. While lymphocytes help in the production of antibodies. You know the role antibodies play in the life of human being. Body immune system, having a strong immune system, antibody play a crucial role there. So lymphocytes produces antibodies that help to fight germs, microbes, pathogens in our body. After this blood cell, called white blood cell, we move over to blood platelet. Blood platelet, also called thrombocyte. Blood platelet, the major function, it helps in blood clotting. What do I mean by blood clotting? Sometimes, unless somebody knows, there are people that suffer from a hereditary disease, hemophilia. People, any slight cut in their body, they may lose blood. Today, they may continue losing blood. It is inherited. It's one of the sex-linked characters we have in biology. Apart from this hemophilia, we still know that other sex-linked characters, color blindness, baldness. These are sex-linked characters. But look at the one I am emphasizing on, saying something on, because we are studying blood platelet now and the clotting factor. So people that suffer from this hemophilia, they always have problem. Blood may not be able to clot very well. And before you know it, they keep losing blood, and it's a very serious condition. Then, having stated the functions of blood platelets, I told you that it helps in blood clotting. I want to briefly describe mechanisms involved in our blood, how the blood is being clotted. The mechanism, very important. And as a student, you must know it. You encounter some words there that you should not forget. They help in clotting. Briefly, when blood is exposed to air, as a result of damaged blood vessels, something happens. The platelets breaks up, releasing an enzyme. There is an enzyme called thromboplastin. This enzyme, it's an enzyme, thromboplastin. Some textbooks can call it thrombokinase. Thrombokinase. It releases this enzyme. And it's this enzyme that we, in the presence of calcium ion, because calcium ion is one of the ion, in fact, it's the major ion that helps in blood clotting. In the presence of calcium ion, thromboplastin will cause a plasma protein called prothrombin. To be converted into thrombin, to be converted into thrombin. What are we discussing? The mechanism of blood clotting. This thrombin is an enzyme. You already know what enzyme is all about. In case you have forgotten, remember that enzymes are organic catalysts that speed up the rate of reaction, but at the end they remain unchanged. This is an enzyme. This enzyme thrombin causes another protein, fibrinogen, convert fibrinogen fibrinogen. Changing it to trace of fibrin. Changing it to trace of what? Fibrin. Fibrin, trace of fibrins. It is this fibrin, trace of fibrin, that will entangle the blood cells, thereby bringing the process of clotting, thereby clotting the blood very well. So, trace of fibrin is the final stage that will help in stopping bleeding. So, this is just the summary of the mechanism of blood clotting. Please don't play with these words. Always remember these words: thromboplastin, prothrombin, thrombin, fibrinogen, and the trace of fibrins. Always remember them. And another thing I want you to know is calcium ion must be present for this thing to be possible. And vitamin K is also needed in blood clotting. Then, having said all these things, then let's go over to general functions of blood. General functions of blood. Number one, blood helps in transportation of oxygen. Blood helps in transportation of carbon dioxide. Blood helps in regulation of body temperature. What do I mean by that? When somebody is feeling cold, like during cold weather, normal person is not supposed to be sweating under very serious cold environment. So what happened that time? Organs like liver. One of the functions of liver, if you remember, in our first term work, one of the functions of liver is that liver helps in the production of heat. So this heat, once they are produced, with the help of blood will absorb them and help in distributing them around their body. This is thereby helping to maintain our body temperature. So that is one of the general functions of blood. Blood cells like platelets help in clotting, white blood cells help to fight germs. Blood also helps in transportation of hormones. What about digested food? After taking in meal and it is taken care of by the enzymes, the absorption and the assimilation taking place in small intestine, entering bloodstream. Then blood will now carry them to the parts where they are needed. So one of the major functions of blood is transportation of digested food. Having explained all this from the circulatory system down to composition of blood, then we are moving over to blood vessels. Blood vessels. We have three main blood vessels. They are arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. It carries blood away from the heart, while veins return blood back to the heart. Then capillaries, they are through capillaries, nutrients reaches the cells and tissues, and waste products also come out from them. These are blood vessels. Capillary is the smallest of all of them. Then, having explained the blood vessels, finally let's go over to the important organ. Very important, very powerful. The heart. This heart contains, but it is covered with a layer, like a bag, called pericardium. Pericardium. So in between these layers are fluids, pericardial fluid. Pericardial fluid. They help to prevent friction when the heart is beating. When you touch your heart and when your heart is beating, those fluids there, they help to prevent friction, thereby helping the heart to beat very well. I want you to understand something about this heart. I want to explain this heart very well. This heart, mammalian heart. Remember that mammalian heart is different from the heart of the fish, the heart of amphibians like toad and frog, the heart of reptiles like lizard, war gecko, turtles. Their heart cannot be compared with the heart of humans and the mammals. Let me just digress a bit. Let me say something about the heart of fish, for example. It's not here, but fish has two heart chambers, one auricle, one ventricle. Amphibians like frog, toad have what? 3 heart chambers, 2 auricles and 1 ventricles. But when you come to mammals, entirely different. 4 heart chambers. The upper chamber are called auricles. The upper chamber are called what? The auricles. Auricles. Lower chambers. Lower chambers. Ventricles. Ventricles. So we must understand this. We must understand this thing. Then the heart is divided into left and right by a muscular structure called median septum. This is what separates the heart into left and right. And with this, there is nothing like mixing of oxygenated blood with deoxygenated blood. It's a powerful structure in the mammalian heart. So let's continue. Then in between remember that the right side of the heart carries deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood, the right side. While the left side contains oxygenated blood. Students, if you don't pay attention to this, it will keep confusing you. Heart is diagrams and other things is somehow complicated, but it needs serious attention. Then let's see the left auricle and the left auricle and left ventricle. So in between the left auricle and left ventricle is a valve. I called it valve. The name of the valve is bicuspid valve. Bicuspid valve. That is in between the left auricle and the left ventricle. Then coming to the right auricle and the right ventricle. In between this, you see another valve. The valve is called tricuspid valve. Tricuspid valve. Why this word bi and tri? Tri means that it has about 3 flaps there. This one, 2 flaps. Then let me now describe how blood enters this heart. Do you know that blood that comes from the head region, the neck region, the forearms, they enter the right side of the heart, the upper side of the heart, through this vein. Look at the name of that vein. Superior vena cava. The largest vein in the body is called vena cava. They are the largest vein in the body. So blood that comes from the head region, the neck region, and the forearms, they enter through this, and they now empty into the right auricle. What did I say about the right side of the heart? It carries deoxygenated blood. Why blood from the other parts of the body, except the lungs, pass through another bigger vein, another big vein called inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava. This can be called either superior or anterior vena cava. This one can be called inferior or posterior vena cava. So it is through this that just the blood enter the right auricle. Once the right auricle contracts, what happens? The blood moves to the right ventricle. Reaching this ventricle, once the right ventricle compress or contracts, what happens? The blood flows from the pulmonary arch, which later divide into two. This pulmonary arch divide into two, one leading, remember we have a pair of lungs. Dividing into two, one leading to the other lungs, the other one going to the other lungs, forming pulmonary arteries. Pulmonary arteries. So what am I trying to say in essence? Pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle to the lungs for purification. The essence of that is for what? Purification of that blood. Then let's talk about the left side of the heart. After purification by the lungs, oxygenated blood is being carried by a vein called pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein carry blood and transport it to the left auricle of the heart. This vein, all veins in the body carry deoxygenated blood, except this one. This is the only vein that carry oxygenated blood. And they transport this oxygenated blood to the left auricle of the heart. Then when the left auricle contracts, from the chart, when the left auricle, look at the left. Why is this side called left? Sometimes people say that think that it's right. Because the diagram is like this. That's why this is the left. So this is the right. So look at my left side now. So once the left auricle contracts, the blood will move to the left ventricle. And once the left ventricle contracts, there is another big artery. In fact, that's what we call aortic arch. That give you the biggest, the name of, from there you have the biggest artery in the body. Look at the biggest artery in the body. This is the biggest artery. So from here now, the blood is now being carried to shift to all parts of the body. Although from this bigger one, you begin to see small arteries, and then it will now reach the cells and tissues of the body. Whereas remember that the waste materials, blood will also carry them, but returning them through the veins. Let me briefly describe the flow of blood flow from the heart. Let me just have a little sketch of blood flow from the heart. This is the heart. From the heart, expect arteries to carry the blood away from the heart. Then again, expect the small arteries. You know, as arteries leave the body, the heart, they are becoming smaller and smaller. The small arteries, we call them arterioles. Arterioles. From the arterioles now, we now see the capillaries. 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 Then capillaries to venous. Small vein, tiny veins. Venous. Venous to bigger veins. And finally back to heart. Look at what happened. This is just a simple blood flow from the heart and back again. Arteries, arterioles, capillaries, veins, back to the heart. So it's very important that we study, you learn this. Before we end our lecture, I would still like to explain this. Double circulation. Double circulation. Double circulation. Under this, I discussed one, pulmonary circulation. Pulmonary circulation. And two, systemic circulation. Systemic regulation. So look at what happened here now. Pulmonary circulation is the movement of blood from the heart to the lungs for purification and back again to the heart. It's not yet complete cycle. Then the second one now is the movement of the blood now oxygenated from the heart to all parts of the body except the lungs and back again to the heart. That one is the systemic. So these two terms make up double circulation in man. So I would like you to know what pulmonary circulation is all about. Systemic circulation, what it's all about. They are very powerful. Then before I finally round off, I still want to name some arteries in our body. Like you have come across pulmonary artery that transport blood to the lungs. That is not the only artery we have in our body. We have other arteries like hepatic artery. Hepatic artery. This one carries blood to the liver. Carry blood to the liver, hepatic artery. We still have another one we call renal artery. Renal artery carries blood to the kidney. We also have carotid artery. Carotid artery supplies to the head regions. These are some of the examples of arteries in our body. We have other ones like mesenteric artery. We have many of them. Then for vein, we have pulmonary vein. I told you that pulmonary vein transport blood to the left side of the heart. Apart from the vein, there's one chart here. Diagram here still tells us diagram of circulation. If you look closely at this drawing, you will see the position of heart there. But there are a lot of veins there. Look at pulmonary vein, the one I was discussing before. Pulmonary vein. Look at the hypogastric vein. Then look at portal vein. This one is hepatic portal vein. This vein is very unique. Do you know why I say that this vein is very unique? It begins with capillaries and ends with capillaries. That is a special function this vein has, hepatic portal vein. It begins with capillaries, ends with capillaries. Please note that important feature. Then there are other ones, as you can see from the diagram. In summary, transport system is very important, and you should not ignore or neglect transport system. Next lecture, we are going to discuss digestive system. Digestion in man. Once you put food in your mouth, what happens after that? That will be our next discussion. Remember that all these things are revision. You have done this thing before, but with what I have said today, by special grace of God, you have learned something. Then the assignment I'm going to give you today, and I will still want you to perfect it. Diagram showing longitudinal section of mammalian heart. Let me repeat. Diagram showing the longitudinal mammalian heart. So from here, study the diagram very well. And remember that in the exam, it's usually sometimes come out in the exam. There are diagrams you must not play with. As long as this is WAEC is concerned, WAEC and NECO. Those diagrams, heart is one of them. Skin, diagram of skin, one of them. The neurons, the reproductive system, both male and female. Our ear and the longitudinal section of eye. All these are very important drawings. We must not play with, you must not play with. Even carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, they are all likely, they may come out in any exam. So don't play with them. And I pray that you will continue to read well and understand them. Remember that readers are leaders. Thanks for listening. Next time we continue. God bless you.